Hey! What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Well, my name is Jeremy, aka, well, come on! It's your boy, R.P.G, Red, Purple, Gold. Now, before we get into the brand new video today, I definitely just wanted to take the time, as I always do, to make sure to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel if you haven't had a chance to do so already, because I'd love to have you as part of the family. Also, make sure to just take a couple seconds, like the video, give it that thumbs up, because it definitely does help. And also, the last thing, make sure to, down below, right down there in that comment section, make sure to leave any comments that you might like, because it's definitely the best way to be able to get that dialogue started, so I can be able to talk back and forth to you guys just as much as I'm able to talk with you on each one of these videos. And of course, as I always love to say, we've got the bell ding, we've got the bell ding. You know what it is. It's the Bell Gang. Make sure to hit that notification bell. Become part of the Bell Gang, ever growing as always, so that each time that I drop a brand new video, you'll be the first to be notified of that brand new piece of content, and you can be able to take that in and watch that whenever you'd like. Well, you guys, we're here on a brand new episode, episode 2 of R.P.G reviews, previews, and general news. And I'm coming at you with a brand new review of an amazing album that I am absolutely digging on and have been ever since it released earlier last month in February. Now, I know that the first episode that I did was on a massive artist, you know, just international superstar, Drake. But for me on this channel, you know, I'm more of a local artist, and you know, I definitely know and follow a lot of people here in the Seattle community and just the 206 overall. So I love to do just a big mixture of music with, you know, different people, somebody huge and well-known like Drake, as well as local artists, different types of music, so from hip-hop, R&B, rock and roll, you know, EDM, dubstep, a lot of different things. Really just kind of whatever catches my fancy. And if it's something that I feel like, ooh, I want to talk about that, I'm going to do a review on it. And so that's what tonight's review is on a local artist. His name is Ellis Prescott. And he actually just had a, well, I guess after some of the research that I've done, it's actually his first, more or less, full-length album that he has released. And I guess I have a question for you. Are you in love with Heartbreak? Well, that was sort of the statement or the question that he put to us, and tonight I'm going to be doing a review on his album that just released on Valentine's Day, so last month, February 14th, 2019, Ellis Prescott, In Love with Heartbreak. So I'm going to start out by showing you guys the album cover art. And here is that right there, so you can see that. I'll kind of zoom in and do a little bit of a come out on that. So this is the album cover art for his newest album, In Love with Heartbreak. Now, like I said, Ellis had released this album on February 14th on Valentine's Day, and obviously, as you can see from the album cover art, it makes perfect sense. But that's also a statement and an idea that people deal with a lot, in that idea that, wow, like, is there a reason that my relationships or different things just don't work out? Am I in love with Heartbreak? And, you know, and like I said, from the research that I did, and when I had looked up him as the artist page on Google Music, which is the main platform that I use, it said that this was his, you know, first album release. And understanding what that means as an artist who's also had a first album release, I was and still am blown away by how amazing this album really is. Just the whole album is incredible, really from start to finish. But just as I did with the Drake album, some of my personal, in my own opinion, some of my personal favorite songs from the album. Made for You, Next Time, Love Fever featuring Paris Alexa, and the last song, once again, and I know that I talked about this on the Drake album, but that last song on an album to me is so important, and his last song on the album was called Losing Myself. And that also was an amazing song, just a really good message, kind of definitely makes you think. But this album and just Ellis as a general artist, you know, he kind of embodies more of that R&B, you know, kind of, he sings and he just has such a smooth, just beautiful voice. And, you know, where he's not as much of a, he kind of has more of that, like, soulful sound to him where, you know, he has a beautiful voice, but it's definitely, he's not trying to hit those, you know, he doesn't have that crazy high type of voice like, you know, your regular boy band type of person would, you know, like your NSYNCs or your Backstreet Boys, but he just has this beautiful melodic voice, and it's almost just, it's relaxing almost in a way, and I absolutely love the entire album, but those songs that I just went over are some of my absolute favorite from the album. Now, if you are a local artist here in Seattle, that name kind of might sound familiar to you outside of just this new album that he put out, In Love with Heartbreak. And that is because he is also known, maybe even better, as Ellis Thomas, or L on the Cam, and he is actually the creative director at Town ENT, or Town Entertainment. Now, I have been following Ellis from the side of Town Entertainment, with him as being the creative director and a director of a lot of the music videos that I see of a good majority of the local artists that are here in the Seattle area for a long time. You know, at least probably the last 2 or 3 years, mostly ever since I kind of got connected with Deshaun, or Spaz on the Beat, my producer. I've kind of known and heard about and been watching and following the videos that Ellis has made. And he's worked with so many local artists around here in the Seattle area. So people like Mafi D, Streetball Soup, Cameron Chanel or Cammy Too Cold, Gunna Goof, and then many, many more. I mean, I feel like I see a new artist video being put out from him, like at least maybe 1 to 3 times a week almost, it feels like. It's just so consistent and so many artists that he's working with. And, you know, even though some of those individual artists and the songs that they do and the videos that they make, they're all incredible videos, but maybe they're not specifically the type of video that I would make personally for me, but just the amount of work and the dedication that he puts into his craft, it's incredible to just watch and just to see the amount of work that he puts in. Even though I might not personally know every artist that he works with, you absolutely can see how much dedication, how much work, just how much of himself he really puts into all of the other things that he's involved with. And then on top of that, he's also putting out this first, you know, more full-length album, and it's just incredible. I mean, his voice is so good, and the entire album is just fantastic. And so, now let's get to it. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's give this album a grade. Just like I started with my very first episode when I did the Drake album, you know, giving a grade on that one, a scale of 1 to 10. And I had some different factors that I like to go on. So how much do I keep repeating wanting to hear the album and listen to it? Do I just like to pick out individual songs, or do I go start to finish and just listen it from track 1 to the last track on the album? And for me, with Ellis Prescott and this album, In Love with Heartbreak, I listen to this album probably 3 or 4 times a week. And so basically almost at least once a day. And I will just start it from the first track and just go all the way to the end. And just because of his voice, just because of, especially like that song, Love Fever with Paris Alexa, that's one of my favorite ones, and their sound together is just amazing. Like, and only because I can understand, because I also had a female artist on my last album as well. So it really does make a difference to know that the sound of your voice and the sound of theirs, you know, really comes together and just sounds good together, even though they're two separate voices, two separate people singing on one song. But that song specifically, since it's one of the ones that he has as a feature on there, is just a beautiful song, and their voices together are really, really good. But at the same time, I'm also listening to it multiple times a week. I can listen to it all the way through, and he has so much, all of his songs just have such good meaning behind them. A lot of them really make you think, just the album overall, and also that album cover art. You know, I just absolutely love this style of an album cover. Just the way that it looks, it has a really distinct visual to it, but it also, you can tell, like, he had a very distinct and very specific frame in mind of what he wanted it to look like, and I love the final product of what he put out. But then just him as the artist, to know that this was really his first full-length album that he put out in this way, for it to be this good right off the bat, is just incredible. So for me, I'm going to give the album for Ellis Prescott, In Love with Heartbreak, an 8.5 out of 10. So again, because of all the times per week that I love to listen to it, and I'm just able to start it, press play, and go all the way through, that's why I give it that score once again of 8.5 out of 10. Well, you guys, I'm so glad that I was able to come again with a brand new review, and also it just makes it almost a little bit more special and just even cooler, the fact that this is a local Seattle artist, somebody that, while I don't, you know, personally know him very well, it's just amazing to know that, you know, we're in that same community and that he's put out something that is just so great, and it's an album that I can just keep listening to over and over again. And again, just because it has that Seattle flavor, but since I know, you know, he's another person from the 206, it makes it mean that much more. Well, you guys, I've got a lot more reviews, you know, definitely some previews and general news also coming up very soon. So keep following me here on the channel and get ready for that next episode. But until I come live with that next one, peace.